from the Pentagon that US President Donald Trump had ordered this strike inside Iraq that has killed a commander of Iran's elite Quds force. Now, he was killed in this strike just next to the city's airport. The Quds force is responsible for Iran's overseas and clandestine military operations. Now, also killed was Iraqi militia commander Abu Mahdi al-Mohandes. He was the deputy leader of Iraq's Hashd Shabi militia. The Pentagon, as I was saying, has confirmed now the death of Soleimani. In its statement, it says it was done on the orders of the US president. The killing has also been confirmed by Iranian state TV.
It's a pretty remarkable Department of Defense statement about this. It's a good 2.5 paragraphs long. I won't read the entire thing again, but the key points that stand out in here is obviously the United States Department of Defense confirming that the strike that killed Soleimani was at the direction of the President of the United States. That should not necessarily be a surprise given the high profile of Soleimani. But also in the statement by the Department of Defense, they really pointed out how Soleimani, in their view, was actively planning more attacks on Americans and American diplomats in the region. There was a real sense in this statement that Soleimani and his Quds force were an immediate threat to American lives in the region. I'll read part of it. General Soleimani was actively developing plans to attack American diplomats and service members in Iraq and throughout the region. General Soleimani and his Quds force were responsible for the death of hundreds of American and coalition service members and the wounding of thousands more. Again, that's 2 sentences from the statement, just confirmed by the Department of Defense here. It's important to point out that beyond this statement, we have not heard anything officially from the White House or the President of the United States. He did tweet a picture of the American flag, but beyond that, no official statement from the President, Donald Trump. He's at his Mar-a-Lago resort, still in the middle of a vacation there. Also nothing from the State Department either. But clearly, this is a major strike by the Department of Defense. Clearly, it was at the direction of the president. Yeah, for sure, those protests that reached the doors of the U.S. Embassy shook Washington. There's no doubt about that. This was protesters or Iranian-linked militia that got through a heavily fortified green zone and got through multiple layers of checkpoints and multiple layers of security to get right up to the door of the most heavily guarded and biggest, and you might even say most important U.S. diplomatic mission in the entire world, and that's the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad. That shook the Pentagon. I think it shook the State Department, and I think it shook the White House as well. And I think what you're seeing here is a reaction to that. There was a clear understanding, I think, over the last few days since this has all transpired, that the U.S. had the option of striking. There were probably multiple options presented to President Donald Trump, and he clearly went with the most severe one. This is, you can't put this or overstate this enough. It should be pointed out that over the past 10 years or so, Israel has reportedly had Soleimani in their crosshairs and were going to strike him. But in both cases, President Obama at the time and President George W. Bush convinced the Israelis not to, because killing him could potentially set off incredible ramifications. Now he has been killed. There was a different choice that was made by President Donald Trump. So the U.S., just to summarize here, the U.S. this week has sent 750 paratroopers to the region to buffer security. They have several thousand more troops on standby for deployment. We've reached out to Fort Bragg and CENTCOM to see if any more troops are being deployed to the region, and so far, no response on that yet. But clearly, without a doubt, this is a major escalation. We'll have to hear from the president what he has to say about this, presumably when he announces more about this decision.
Certainly, Qassem Soleimani is the head of the Quds Force, which is the branch within the Revolutionary Guard that deals with external missions outside of Iran. So they're tasked with foreign missions. So they deal with Iran's foreign policy when it comes to military outside of the country. Now, he was appointed by the Supreme Leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, as the head of the Quds Force at some point in the early 90s. We're not exactly sure when his appointment took place, but he was a man who fought in the Iran-Iraq War, and then he was part of the Revolutionary Guards in his province for many years, and he rose up the ranks very quickly. And he was one of the closest confidants and allies and friends of the Supreme Leader. He was awarded the highest Medal of Honor by the Commander-in-Chief, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, just last year for his services that he's conducted on behalf of Iran. He is known as a very reclusive figure inside the country. There are tales about him of people who met him. Just coming into the office this morning, I was speaking to the security guards at my building, the taxi driver. His name is synonymous with Iranian national pride, no matter what he's been labeled outside the country. And inside Iran, no matter which side you lean on politically, Qassem Soleimani, or Haj Qassem, as he's known, is a figure who resonates with Iranians as somebody who has had the best interest of Iran at heart. He has been instrumental in preventing ISIL from setting foot on Iranian soil over the past few years. When I was speaking to my taxi driver, we were listening to state radio on the way in. There is already songs of mourning. The announcer saying that it is with great sadness that we announced the martyrdom of Qassem Soleimani in Iraq, and condolences to all of the Iranian people and the nation. The taxi driver was so shocked he could barely speak, and he had to actually pull over and take a minute before he could continue his ride. And he said that this is something that people never believed could happen, because there is a aura of mystery and grandiose about Qassem Soleimani that people spoke about. So now with this news of his death, of his assassination, there is a tremendous amount of shock and anger that will follow in the next few hours that we will see, not only in Iran, but across the Middle East. He was instrumental in Iran's policies in Lebanon. His close relationship with Hassan Nasrallah, Hezbollah in Lebanon, is well documented. The two have had numerous occasions where they've been photographed together alongside the Supreme Leader. His relationship with Muqtada al-Sadr of the Sadr family in Iraq is also noteworthy. He has spent a lot of time in the holy city of Najaf. So he is very well known across the region, both within the political realms and the military circles of this region. He is somebody who is also known to be very kind, very humble. He was, I should say. I have heard stories of people who were on plane rides that he was on, and he spent the entire time speaking to people about his experiences, about his movements. He comes from a very humble background in Hamadan province, and he is somebody who is not immune to the danger of his life. Within his life, he has had many assassination attempts carried out and failed. And there was also an attack even within Iran. There was an attempt on his life just last year. There was the intelligence ministry and the Revolutionary Guards released a statement saying that they fought up an attack of a bombing of a mosque which he attends in his hometown. That there was a network of people that were behind this attempted assassination. They purchased property near the mosque, where he goes for service whenever he's in his hometown. They found explosives in the basement of this mosque. So he's not somebody who's immune to the dangers of his life and his job. And this, the Supreme Leader spoke yesterday saying, specifically responding to Donald Trump, tweeting about Iran and the attacks in Iraq and the latest developments there. The Supreme Leader said that man who tweets cannot do a damn thing, and now this has happened, and it's a direct retaliation, really, to what the Supreme Leader had tweeted on Wednesday. It is likely to have far-reaching consequences.
Yeah.
I mean, Qassem Soleimani is just beyond a well-known figure in Iran.